This week, I want to talk about the muscles behind the mystery. This week, we are diving into ear infections. What if ear infections aren't just about infection? What if they're about mechanics? Because when we talk about the middle ear, we often talk about fluid, bacteria, inflammation, but we don't talk nearly enough about how that fluid is supposed to leave. Drainage is not passive. The middle ear drains through the eustachian tube, a structure that connects the ear to the nasopharynx. But here's the part that matters. It doesn't just sit open, it opens. And that opening is an active, coordinated process. There's a few muscles that we don't talk about enough. They play a central role here: the tensor veli palatini and the levator veli palatini. These aren't just ear muscles, they're part of the soft palate complex, meaning that they are involved in swallowing, palate movement, airway coordination, and critically, they are responsible for helping the eustachian tube open. So let's talk about why that even matters. Every time we swallow, these muscles contract in a coordinated way. The tensor veli palatini helps actively open the eustachian tube, while the levator veli palatini supports elevation and positioning of the soft palate, contributing to pressure regulation and coordination. Together, they allow pressure equalization, ventilation of the middle ear, and clearance of fluid, which basically means that if this system isn't functioning well, drainage isn't functioning well. It's not an isolated system, and this is where it gets interesting. The same muscles are not just involved in ear function. They're a part of a broader system that includes the tongue, the soft palate, the pharyngeal walls, the airway. This system is responsible for breathing, swallowing, maintaining airway patency, coordinating pressure dynamics. So when we see dysfunction here, we shouldn't expect it to show up in just one way. Function drives outcome. If swallow mechanics are altered, if the tongue posture is low, if breathing shifts towards the mouth, if neuromuscular coordination is off, then the tensor veli palatini may not be activating as effectively. The eustachian tube may not open as efficiently, and the fluid may not clear as reliably. Now let's add sleep into the picture. During sleep, muscle tone decreases. The system has less support. Airway collapsibility increases, pressure dynamics shift, and the same structures responsible for maintaining airway stability are the ones involved in facilitating drainage. So if the system is already under strain during the day, sleep is where that strain becomes more apparent. We're creating a loop here. When drainage is impaired, fluid accumulates, infection risk increases, inflammation follows. And inflammation doesn't stay local. It affects surrounding structures, like adenoids, mucosa, nasopharyngeal space, which can further impact airflow, muscle coordination, eustachian tube dysfunction, and that loop continues. A different way to see it: instead of thinking about ear infections as isolated events, we can start to see them as a reflection of how well this system is functioning. Not as a diagnosis, but as a pattern. So the key takeaway I want you to have today is the tensor veli palatini isn't just a really fun anatomical term to say. It's a reminder that ear drainage is not passive. It's active. It's coordinated. And it is deeply connected to how we breathe, swallow, and sleep. Different symptoms, same system. And sometimes the ear is just where we notice it first.